Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Wall of Power Radio Hour. This is your host, Paul Metsa. We have possibly our favorite reoccurring guest on tonight, Checkpoint Charlie Pierce. Charlie is by far my favorite political writer and blogger in the country. He lives in an undisclosed location outside of Boston, Massachusetts. And he's a sports writer, political commentator, and author, Twitter ex-madman, and knows quite a bit about what's going on in the country, which is why we like to get with Charlie every now and then. I refer to him as my psychological morphine drip for all things political. And Charlie Pierce, you got to up the dose because
Oh man, I'm telling you what, I got to be careful because I don't want you to like go comatose on me.
I'll hang out here, but where should we even start? I'm going to let you lead the discussion today because there is so much BS going on in this country. In fact, the last time we chatted, we had almost had something that resembled a country.
Oh, I mean, there is very literally a cold civil war going on in the country right now. You've got an overwhelming misuse of executive power from the national government, and you've got fighters out in the states. I mean, I never thought I'd be on the states' rights side of any argument, but this is plainly political payback and political revenge being acted out in the guise of like national policy, and it's a terrible situation.
The redistrict, you know what I'm talking about. What's going on in Texas? I mean, I believe that's, call me crazy. I believe that's just going to be the start of it. I don't think Trump is going to stop with Texas.
Oh, no, there's absolutely no question. And I'm glad that, Gavin Newsom in California is pushing back because he's got the clout to do that. That's the fourth largest. California is the fourth largest economy in the world. And if California were to stop its payments to the federal government, Mississippi would go out. Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana would all go out of business in a half an hour. Because they're all basically freeloaders.
Right.
And we have up in Boston now, we have a real fighter in Mayor Michelle Wu.
Yeah.
Who came out yesterday and pretty much, told the president and his attorney general to pound sand in terms of coming in here with the ice thugs and the beer belly polka guys in the mask, and she's got the political clout to do it. She's cruising to re-election. She's got a 60% approval rating. People just love her, and she's very smart and very tough. So it's out there. I mean, there are people out there who can make the fight.
Now, in California, for example, Charlie, if the measure passes in November to do the redistricting, how many seats do you think? Texas now has 5. How many could California add?
Newsom says he can produce 5.
Okay.
He can turn the thing with Texas into a wash, and I believe him. I mean, I don't know. California's got 9,000 congressional districts, so I have no idea how he'd do it, but I'm sure there's a way to do it. There's always a way to do it. I mean, I live in the state where the process was invented. Gerrymandering is named after Elbert Gerry, who was the governor of Massachusetts.
Really? Tell us a little bit more about that. I'd love.
Oh yeah, a long time back in the Elbert Gerry was a very prominent figure in the revolution here. He signed the Declaration of Independence. He may have signed the Constitution. I'm not sure, but when he was governor during when the whole transition from the Federalists, which was Washington and Adams, and what were then called Democratic Republicans, Jefferson and that sort, was occurring in national politics. And the Federalists, really, their last fortress was Massachusetts and New England. So he rejiggered the congressional districts so that the Federalists would maintain a majority of the congressional seats in Massachusetts. And a guy wrote a political pamphlet at the top where he showed one of the districts shaped like a salamander with a big head and fangs, and he called it the gerrymander, and that's where we got the word.
Wow, like salamander, I get it.
Yeah.
Well, you only learn these things, Charlie Pierce, if you listen to the Wall of Power Radio Hour.
That's exactly. I'm glad to share my knowledge. Yeah, I mean, it was it's something we've heard of. Something we've heard about here. Yeah, I've heard about here all my life, but I will try to send you a copy of the cartoon, because the cartoon is in the Massachusetts Historical Society up on the wall. A copy of it.
Well, we're trying to raise my listeners' IQ 1 point at a time, and I think we just accomplished that. Let's talk a little bit more about Gavin Newsom. I've been a big fan of him, his for a long time. California is a real easy state to take pot shots at. What do you think, for example, who's ever running his he's the kind of the Twitter troll capital right now. Who's ever running that part of his operation?
Camille Zapata is her name.
Okay.
She's his director of public media, and she's brilliant.
Yeah.
I already have a mad political crush on her because she's mastered the dialect within which Trump tweets or Truth Socials. And she's brilliant at it. And when he started calling himself your favorite governor, that's what won my heart. Because Nazi is always calling himself your favorite president, and Gavin Newsom starts calling him calling himself your favorite governor. Because mockery mockery has always been a great weapon against tyrants.
Right.
When mockery and satire, I mean, it's where all the best mockery and satire came was in a political context against tyrants.
You must have been a big fan, or remain, H.L. Mencken.
Mencken was a little bit, in his later years, Mencken got a little bit nasty and anti-Semitic and basically was writing when completely drunk. But at his best, he was brilliant. In fact, I was just talking with somebody the other day. It was the 100th anniversary this spring of the monkey trial in Dayton, Tennessee. The Inherit the Wind trial, the Scopes trial, with Clarence Darrow and William Jennings Bryan. And, of course, Mencken covered that whole trial. And his dispatches from there are just scathing. But the courtroom is still there. The courthouse is still there.
Wow.
And it's sort of a museum, but they still use the courtroom as a courtroom.
Huh.
If you come to dispute a traffic ticket in Dayton, Tennessee, you go to the courtroom where they had the Scopes trial.
Wow.
And there's a big tree outside, right on the right-hand side of the courtroom, and it's an oak tree that's God knows, somewhere between 300 and 3,000 years old.
Charlie, you and I are the number one big fans of history and historic places. In fact, I was just reading in one of your articles in Esquire.com in your politics column about visiting the Jimmy Rogers Museum in Meridian, Mississippi, and getting a guitar-shaped thermometer. And if I'm correct, I believe Jerry Lee Lewis was from Meridian, Mississippi as well.
No, he's from Louisiana. He's from Faraday, Louisiana.
Oh, Faraday, okay. My bad. I should know.
Oil Can Boyd, the pitcher was. Yeah. Oil Can Boyd, the pitcher was from Meridian. That's why I was down there, in fact.
Okay. Well, let's talk about what's going on with the Smithsonian.
It's a terrible thing, and I know it's minor compared to the people who are being rounded up and deported and all, but it's just so goddamn anti-American to destroy or to attempt to defang American history that way. We're all bold enough, we're all brave enough, we're all big enough boys to understand that the history of this country has not been, a bowl of sunshine for everyone. And we can all take comfort in the fact that, we recognize that and we try to do better. But for them to start meddling with, the Museum of African American History, which went through hell just to be built, let alone, I just saw an old interview with the guy, Lonnie Bunch, who was the spearhead of that project in Washington. They kept trying to put that museum they wanted it any place but on the National Mall. They wanted to put it out in the woods somewhere in Virginia or Maryland. And he fought for that place on the mall, and it belongs on the mall. And then I think about, the Museum of the American Indian and, what is ostensibly going to be the, what the hell's the other one? The one they're talking about building now. But, and now these guys are a bunch of people who know nothing, who have absolutely no expertise in anything except vandalism, are going to come in and try to wreck that place. It's abhorrent to me. It's infuriating. More than anything else, I mean, to quote Henry V, I was not angry till I came to France. I was not angry until they came for the Smithsonian. Now I'm just furious.
Yeah.
We can't allow this as a nation to happen. To let a bunch of third-rate heritage foundation acts take away our heritage, our literal heritage.
It's absolutely appalling. I was talking to a good friend of mine, Charlie Parr, who came out of originally southern Minnesota, but really made a name for himself at Duluth as one of America's premier folk and blues guitarists and songwriters. And he's on Smithsonian Folkways Records.
Oh, right, yeah.
I just talked to him a couple of weeks ago, and he said that whole part, their incredible discography of some of the greatest music ever produced in America, and all those great records they put out, that is also in danger of losing that, and certainly not going forward recording more of that music that is out there right now that is purely American.
No, I mean, I think, God bless the Library of Congress for standing firm, but yeah, I think there has to be an active, sort of internal rebellion at the Smithsonian to preserve what's there. I mean, I don't think you can, I don't think they can assume anything is safe from these people.
Well, and then it leads right into, when we're talking about Charlie Parr, for example, one of the lifelines for independent musicians like myself since I started in 1984 was any community radio station that got some of their funding from National Public Radio.
Yep.
And now that it's tough enough for guys like me to get played on the radio. Thank God there's been these community radio stations around the country that are now in deep distress with the cuts in funding to National Public Radio.
Yeah, I mean, we have them. Obviously, we have them here. We have WGBH in Boston. We have WCUW, the longtime Clark University radio station in Worcester, where I grew up. Which broke God knows how many artists in that market. Without independent musicians, you don't get half of what you can of what we know of what we recognize to be American music.
I spend my mornings listening to WPIR, Wisconsin Public Radio, and their classical programming, and you listen to them, and it seems like every other week they're doing a fundraiser because they need to.
Oh yeah. I watch, because I do a segment every Tuesday on Stephanie Miller's show. I watch Free Speech TV, and they're the same way. Their ads are nothing but fundraising at this point, because because the vandals, the vandals are stealing the handles, as Bob would say.
Vandals are stealing the handles. We got
pumps don't work because the vandals. The pumps don't work because the vandals stole the handles. Now we know what he meant.
We've got Checkpoint Charlie Pierce with us on the Wall of Power Radio Hour for the whole show tonight. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back. Don't touch that dial.
Oh, God said to Abraham, kill me a son. Abe said, man, you must be putting me on. God said, no. Abe said, what? God said, you can do what you want, Abe, but next time you see me coming, you better run. Well, Abe said, where you want this killing done? God said, hold on Highway 61. Well, Georgia Sam, he had a bloody nose. Welfare department, they wouldn't give him no clothes. They asked poor Howard, where can I go? Howard said, there's only one place I know. Sam said, tell me quick, man, I got to run. Oh, Howard just pointed with his gun and said, that way down Highway 61.
When you hear those angelic voices, you know you are listening to the Wall of Power Radio Hour. This is your host, Paul Metsa. One of our favorite guests that we've had on for, 3 or 4 years now, is Charlie Pierce. Charlie writes a great politics column for Esquire.com, among other things. He's just an astute political mind, and he's one of my lifelines to sanity in these dark and turbulent times that this country is going through. Charlie, what's your next beef?
What's my next piece? Well, on the blog, I'm writing a very disrespectful obit to that monster James Dobson, who just kicked the bucket today. And then I think for this week's newsletter, I'm not really sure. I'm kicking around a couple of ideas, but I haven't gotten one that I think I can get 1,500 words out of yet. So
let's talk. Let's talk about one of Donald Trump's advisors, Laura Loomer.
Oh yeah, I mean, she's not. I guess she's not technically in the White House, but she seems to have a lot of control over personnel, and she's beyond nutty. I mean, she needs help. She needs to be institutionalized and she needs to have some nice medication until she gets right in her head, as they say down south. There's something not right in that girl's head.
Yeah, and then that she can have enough power to have
She's firing people. She's getting people at the Department of Defense fired because Nutsy listens to her. I mean, it's mind-boggling to me.
Now,
and she's picking fights with Marjorie Taylor Greene, on which I have to side with Marjorie Taylor Greene. I don't like doing that.
I remember years ago when we were talking about Rick Wilson, who I also follow religiously, who you had a few bones to pick with over the air, but just that whole right-wing media landscape, hellscape, it's Tim Pool, Tucker Carlson, Newsmax, Fox News. I have no idea really what's the end goal for all of those people? The end goal for Well, I think the end goal for all of them is to make as much money as they can while they do it. But the end goal is a white supremacist society in which all dissent is crushed. Now, they may never get there, and I hope to God they don't, but that's what they're shooting for.
That's why we're getting Confederate statues put back up.
Right.
That's why that's why the Smithsonian's being knuckled the way they are. And let's not just go to the Smithsonian. They've announced they're going to go around the country and look at other museums.
Right.
So if you're running the Jimmy Rogers Museum in Meridian, Mississippi, some guy from Washington, D.C. with a briefcase may show up at your door one day.
I wouldn't put them past them to reopen the Lorraine Motel as a motel and get rid of that phenomenal civil rights museum.
The people down there may regret having kept it as pristine as they have. Because it probably somebody in the Trump White House who says, hey, we can get $300 a night for that one room.
I shouldn't be laughing because it's so damn sad, but I'll lighten it up a little bit. I was down there for the Blues Awards in 2018 because my buddy and partner Willie Walker was up for several awards and not with us anymore.
I love Memphis, by the way. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah, no, love. First time I was down there. And got to get back. But so I was standing next to a guy looking at the Lorraine Motel who is a right-wing talk show host. I forget his name. His dad was a CBS anchor person. And Bill Platt, was that his name? I'm forgetting it now. Anyway, we were chatting about it. Of course, there's a little museum across the way from where the supposed assassin, James Earl Ray, took his shots from. And
there's a tunnel. There's a tunnel that connects the two now.
Well,
because that's now part of the National Historical Site, the apartment building.
Well, it was, so they've got a bunch of ephemera from James Earl Ray, his license plate and his different receipts when he supposedly took off from Memphis and went on the road. And I think it took him at least, 6 months or so to capture him.
Well, he got all the way to London. They busted him in London.
Right. But what was interesting.
And this guy was, a quote unquote, unemployed drifter. But somehow had the wherewithal to get to London.
Well, what I found fascinating in his credit card receipts, somewhere along the way, he took dance lessons.
Well, you got to have something to do when you're on the lam.
Oh, man. How do you think the Dems are handling their messaging? It seems
I think they're getting a lot better. I think they're realizing first of all, I think they're realizing the gravity of the situation, which it took them far too long to do. Second of all, I think they're realizing the potential of snark and mockery, which is good. And I think they're recognizing for the fact that they are now playing a game without rules.
Yeah.
And that goes for everybody. I mean, if you want to throw out the entire rule book, then understand that you've thrown out the entire rule book for everybody.
Yeah. Well, I
don't know if that's good for the country or not, but under the current emergency, I'm not surprised. I'm glad. I'm sorry it took them so long, but with somebody like Newsom leading the way, with the immense amount of political and economic clout he has, that's a good thing. I mean, that's a hell of a development. I only hope he follows through.
I went to the grocery store yesterday. I drink 10 or 12 cups of coffee a day, and I get the environmentally friendly Keurig cups. And but I think I have to go to just back to the traditional coffee maker. I went yesterday. I get a 72 pod collection of coffee. Usually costs $24. Went up to $7.
Really?
Yesterday it was $34.
Wow.
What do you see in prices?
I mean, I'm not surprised. I went grocery shopping the other day. I just moved, by the way. I'm in a new place. So
cool.
But I'm getting used to my neighborhood, and I went over to the grocery store. I live like a half a block from a big grocery store now, which is good. But I bought like bananas and stuff, and it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Prices have not gone down. Trust me.
For sure. No, I know that for sure. I think it's another point of them messaging that they should get on this afternoon or Saturday when they hear this show. But, and I'm sure somebody's on it. What do you think? How do you think my buddy Ken Martin is doing heading up the DNC?
I like Ken a lot. And Ken has the endorsement of my favorite political activist in all of America, Jane Klebb, down in Nebraska.
Okay.
So I met Ken at the at the New Hampshire primary last time around, and I liked him a great deal. I mean, I sort of wish Jane had become the national chairman, but that's neither here nor there. She's very happy with him. I know he took some heat, but I think he's good at what he's doing, and I think he's if he's being a little bit cautious with the possibility of big win next November, I don't have a problem with that. But he seems to, the money seems to be going to the right places. Every dime that's coming to Gavin Newsom is going to the redistricting fight. It's not going to him.
Right.
Which I found very impressive. So yeah, I mean, I think the forces are gathering, and the only thing that's lacking right now are the people in the streets, and that's coming. I'm fairly sure.
Yeah. Well, I've met Ken several times over the years at different DFL events here in Minnesota, and I like the fact that he was pretty much groomed under the wing of Paul Wellstone. So anytime I get a little worried about Ken, I go, no, he was trained by Paul Wellstone, and I'm cool with that.
That's the connection that matters. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, that's still a tragedy that really rankles.
So I saw a clip of Stephen Miller talking about how they're going to go after the mayor of Boston. Truthfully,
good luck with that. Good luck with that. By the way, we are celebrating the 250th anniversary of the last time a tyrant tried to crack down in Boston, and it didn't work out well for him. So, you come and bring that stuff here, and you end up in the harbor if you're lucky.
One if by land, two if by sea.
One if by land, two if by sea. Don't fire till you see the whites of their eyes. Yep, that's us. And that's been it was reloaded over the years with immigrants from all over the world, including Ireland, including my family. So.
We've got Charlie Pierce on for the whole show tonight. We're going to listen to a little music and come back. One more big third set with Charlie Checkpoint Pierce here on the Wall of Power Radio Hour. Welcome back to the Wall of Power Radio Hour. This is your host, Paul Metsa. So delighted to have one of our favorite guests who reoccurs on the Wall of Power Radio Hour, Checkpoint Charlie Pierce, from an undisclosed location in his new crib outside of Boston, Massachusetts. I've been doing some research. Trump has stopped 6 wars so far. Am I correct?
Yeah, and Masha Gessen the other day counted them up. Like, he claims to have stopped the war between India and Pakistan, and both India and Pakistan have said he didn't have anything to do with it.
And he does it all well.
It depends too. He keeps saying 6 or 7. He can't get the number right.
Speaking, we were talking.
I think they should just make up. I swear to God, the people in Stockholm should just make up a fake Nobel Prize and give it to him.
Yeah.
Make one up. Some kind of gold lame paper mache. Gold leafed paper mache thing like that Time Man of the Year cover that he had made up and hung up in the golf club. He wasn't really Man of the Year, and and just give it to him. He'll be happy. He won't know the difference.
Let's talk a little bit about Washington, D.C. I'm sure you've got a lot of friends and associates and colleagues there. Has anybody been chiming in with you personally about?
Well, yeah, all my friends in Washington keep sending me pictures of them, out in the flower gardens and walking their dogs and saying, what a hellhole it is. And the rest of the country, all the Velveeta eating rubes out there are being told it's this increased worse, the most dangerous city in the world. Well, I think Gaza City probably still has that distinction, or Khartoum, or, for that matter, St. Louis in terms of murder rate. But I just, it's amazing. They send me this picture of playing with their kids in the park and stuff.
Right.
Well, now that the White House is saying that it's only people from Washington are going up to the National Guardsmen and whispering how happy they are to be safe again.
With tears in their eyes.
It's all such incredible bullshit.
Yeah.
It's awesome. It's astonishing. The level. I wrote a book called Idiot America in 2000 where it was dedicated to the consequences of believing nonsense. And I can't believe how much I underclubbed the phenomenon.
Yeah.
I thought I was being really harsh, but I was really underestimating the capacity of the American people to believe nonsense.
Well,
I really did.
You got to feel for Trump. He went to the DMV and he didn't have his license plate. So they were, they couldn't re-up his license, which is really what I think they asked him for. But no, the nonsense that is being spewed across all levels of the Trump administration, it's all gaslighting.
There's no crime crisis in Washington. None. It doesn't exist. It certainly doesn't exist to the extent where you need armed troops. The idiot governor from South Carolina with a Category 3 hurricane 200 miles off his shores is sending his National Guardsmen up to Washington to make sure nobody steals the Lincoln Memorial.
Right.
When are the serious political chickens going to come home to roost with some of these people? Some of the people in the lesser MAGA crowd, these people have to learn. They have to pay a political price for this sooner or later. I hope.
Well, it's I'm no expert on law and order, but it would seem to me if you want to cut down crime in D.C., you wouldn't pardon the 1,500 J6ers, many of whom pled guilty.
Yeah, that's you've got a guy with 35 felony counts against him. Convicted of 35 felony counts, adjudicated to be a sexual assaulter, if not a rapist, and he's going to pardon a bunch of insurrectionists who beat up cops and destroyed the Capitol.
Yeah,
it's crazy. And then he's gonna have Adam Schiff thrown in the hoosgow for some weird mortgage thing.
Yeah,
or he's gonna indict Barack Obama for being black and president at the same time. It's crazy, and people will follow it. People will, and not just the right-wing press. People will take it seriously. I heard, Chris Matthews on TV this morning saying that the increased, police and military presence in Washington was a quote-unquote genius political move. Well, yeah, so was burning the Reichstag. But it's not something you want to do.
We're in bizarro world. There's no other way of putting it. And but
through it all, my friend, Bob's still out there.
And what I heard, he was recently in the studio for 2 days.
Uh-oh, really?
Yeah, took his new band into the studio.
Oh, well, it was not. If it was 1965, he would have finished 2 albums in 2 days.
Well, we've got here in Minneapolis, August 17th, we celebrated 3 holidays. 1943, Dave Snaker Ray was born on August 17th. And 60 years ago on August 17th, the Beatles played Met's Stadium. And, of course, my band, Cats and the Stars, celebrated our 50th anniversary on August 17th. But to get back to that Beatles show, a buddy of mine who played Jack Pasternak, he plays guitar in Cats Under the Stars, told me he heard a great story about, and I'd been to Met Stadium. It was a great old baseball stadium, and the Vikings played there. But the guy that ran the clubhouse, the Beatles were hanging out there, and they said, "What's this?" And he goes, "That's a sauna." And according to the story, he was the guy that introduced the Beatles and let them take a sauna in the Twins clubhouse.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I also note the correct Finnish pronunciation of sauna.
It's like cow, sauna.
Yeah.
I
was corrected on that many times.
I do that semi-regularly over the years. Charlie, we just got a few minutes left with Charlie Pierce. So what's the bright spots in your life, personally, politically? You're my psychological morphine drip for all things political. Give me a hit.
Well, I think that, I'm very encouraged by the level of resistance to the obvious authoritarian instincts of this particular administration. I'm also impressed or encouraged by the fact that the foundations of it seem to be cracking a little bit. You've got MAGA people fighting MAGA people now. That may come to mean nothing, but I'm also encouraged by the fact that the president is quite obviously deteriorating.
Yeah.
I mean, he is not in good shape right now, physically or mentally. He's staring right at the president of Finland, doesn't even recognize him. In that meeting in the White House with all the European leaders, the president of Finland was sitting right directly across from him, and the president didn't know who he was, or forgot who he was, or didn't recognize him.
We are in a crazy state of affairs, but Charlie Pierce, it's guys like you.
Places like Minnesota and Massachusetts are hanging in there.
What's that?
Places like Minnesota and Massachusetts are hanging in there.
Yeah, we will remain.
They're coming for your governor, by the way.
I love Tim Walz.
Yeah, they're coming for him.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And then they're coming from the boundary waters. That'll be the next thing.
Well, I mean, that's one of the. I honestly think people from Minnesota will go to guns to defend the boundary waters. I really do. That's such a point of pride.
We, my band Cats and the Stars, we like to advertise ourselves the only band in Minnesota with at least one portage into the BWCA. Charlie Pierce, it's always a pleasure chatting with you. And
we'll do this again.
Read more on Charlie.
As summer becomes fall.
Yeah.
And we get to 1 year out from the midterms.
Yeah. It's right around the corner. Thanks so much for your time.
No problem. Always.
Great, man. Thank you.
Not all poor men are honest, not all rich men are thieves. But the rich man owns the orchard, the poor man rakes the leaves. And as the world goes around, said all I want to ask is, if the rich man owns the land, why must the poor man pay the taxes? Why does justice go so slow? Slow justice slowly goes. Poor means stop and rich means go. Slow justice slowly goes. You see a woman's work is never done, and do you wonder why? They get paid half as much for double time on a by and by. Well, I ain't no big shot doctor, ain't no big shot doctor's kid, but I can see that my mother never lived in Adam's rib. Why does justice go so slow? Slow justice slowly goes. Little girl means stop, little boy means oh. Slow justice slowly goes. We killed the black minister in Memphis town, black prince and
Thanks for listening to the Wall of Power Radio Hour. 14 years on the air. This show is produced by Paul Metsa, engineered by Patrick Lilia. We'd like to thank our guest, Charlie Pierce. You can follow me at paulmetsa.com. Big fundraiser coming up with AM 950. Also celebrate my birthday on Sunday, November 2nd at the Astor Music Cafe. More info on that soon. You can follow me at paulmetsa.com. Get my records, get my books where those things are sold. And like my dad used to tell me, remember to be kind and make someone happy.